practices.
Yeah, Andrew, I was surprised when I first got into public pensions. I just assumed that the actuaries, the experts there, set all the assumptions. But I'm finding more and more that others are doing that, not those professionals who are setting all those the assumptions that they use.
It's I was on the Society of Actuaries Blue Ribbon panel on pensions, and one thing we talked about there was how this puts the actuarial firms in a squeeze, in a sense that the states, for the most part, contract out to private firms. They want actuaries who are going to sign off on more forgiving assumptions, whether it comes to investment returns or wage growth or all these other things, that it's going to make life easier on them. The actuaries are trying to do the right thing, but they also know if they push too far, some other actuarial firm might come in and undercut them. Some are known for being more forgiving on these things than others. Again, that's a case where regulation makes sense, so that you don't have pressure on the actuaries to sign off on things that they really don't want to sign off on. I've talked to actuaries who will tell you, I'll sign off on this return, 7.5%, 8%, even if I personally think a 6% return is more appropriate. The difference between a 6 and an 8% discount rate is probably 40%, 40 percentage points in your funding ratio. So they're signing off on things they shouldn't have to do. That's why you need regulation. The actuarial profession, through the Actuarial Standards Board, is looking at that. But something that protects the actuaries from all these pressures to act irresponsibly.
Yeah, we have an actuary here in the state of Illinois who is very generous with his assumptions. He ran over, he was the actuary for over 200 plans, used very generous investment rate of returns, discount rates, and other actuaries tried to get into that business. We're competing against him for business, but when he offered these very generous assumptions, he got the work. Unfortunately, or fortunately, he was finally sanctioned by the Actuary Society and lost that work. And some of the these small government pension plans, their funded ratio, the amount that they were unfunded just dramatically increased as they had to use more updated mortality schedules and a better discount rate. So these you do have some bad actors, even in actuaries. But then again, the huge pressure from governments to use what they consider the right assumptions to lower their discount, to lower their contributions, is not, I don't think, the right way to go. And regulation, federal regulation might help you.
Yeah, if this were going on in the private sector, people would call out for regulation, where you're essentially sort of venue shopping for a scorekeeper who's going to give you the most advantageous rules, even if it puts your benefits at greater risk in the future. I mean, these are the incentives that regulation is designed to deal with. And those incentives exist in the private sector. We regulated those pensions. Now, fewer employers today offer defined benefit pensions than in the past, partly because ERISA requires them to actually fund the plan. But if you have pensions out there where they still exist, they are very well funded compared to the public sector plans. So, it gets the idea, if you're going to offer this plan, you have to do it in a responsible way. If you're not going to do it responsibly, if you're going to put your retirees at risk, taxpayers at risk, just don't offer it. I mean, there's ways of offering defined contribution plans, 401ks, 403bs, 457s. If you design a well-run plan there with low cost, automatic enrollment, good investment options, you can provide a very good retirement plan for your employees without putting people at risk this way. So either do it